The Community of Temple Terrace by Monica Baquet, Carrie Ganecco, and Lorraine Merzius. The property that would eventually be named Temple Terrace was purchased in the early 1900s by Chicago socialite Bertha Potter Palmer. She envisioned a golfing community surrounded by rolling hills with luxurious estates and orange groves where wealthy Northerners would retreat in the winter months. The city's name was inspired by a combination of the Temple orange and the terraces seen throughout the rolling terrain. After World War II, mid-century modern homes were rapidly developing, many of which are still seen in the community today.
Temple Terrace is approximately 7.409 square miles, with 0.24 square miles being water. It is conveniently located between three major highways: Interstate 75, Interstate 4, and Interstate 275. Two zip codes are included in Temple Terrace, 33617 and 33637. The United States Census Bureau last recorded Temple Terrace's population to be 26,515. This is a large population considering Temple Terrace is only 7 square miles.
Temple Terrace prides itself on being the first multimodal city in Florida. Driving around, one can see sidewalks almost everywhere with additional bike lanes. Buses make stops throughout the city as well. The residents must be able to bike and walk places to avoid congestion on the roads. There are enough schools to cover the needs of the community. There are 4 public and 4 private elementary schools, 2 public and 4 private middle schools, and 2 public high schools. Temple Terrace has 1 police department and 2 fire stations for the 7 square mile city.
Every community needs resources for leisure and activities. Temple Terrace does a sufficient job with the availability of multiple parks and 1 main recreation center. Parks and recreation will be discussed later in this presentation. Food availability is essential with a population of 26,515. Within the city limits are 4 major grocery stores, and all of them are easily accessible. Temple Terrace has 1 library. Overall, Temple Terrace meets the overall needs of the community. Temple Terrace Recreation Center is open to the public regardless of address for an annual fee. The fees are decreased if you are a resident of Temple Terrace. The Family Recreation Complex is the main facility for the Parks and Recreation Division. The Family Recreation Complex offers a variety of programs and activities, as well as open play areas. Some features include the Clay Court Tennis Center, the Temple Terrace Gymnastics Academy, 3 indoor multi-use gymnasiums, 2 outdoor lighted basketball courts, 6 racquetball courts, a fitness center, competitive and recreational pools, including a 152-foot water slide, sand volleyball courts, various classrooms, dance and aerobic studios, and athletic fields. It is home to Temple Terrace Little League, Temple Terrace Pony League, and Florida Soccer Club, to name a few. Temple Terrace has 20 different parks and facilities. Temple Terrace promotes physical activity and wellness. The park and facilities are maintained by Temple Terrace Parks and Recreation Division. All the parks are free of charge. Most of them close by 9 p.m.
Temple Terrace has a total population of 26,515 people with an average growth rate of 2% annually. A large majority of the city is made up of middle-aged adults with a low percentage of adults over the age of 65. This benefits the community as the majority of its residents are contributing working members, as demonstrated by an employment rate of 67%, as compared with the state of Florida's employment rate of 58%. When compared to Hillsborough County and the state of Florida's ethnic statistics, the percentage of minorities is higher within Temple Terrace. Cultural diversity benefits the community by stimulating its economy to create new jobs and industries. The state of Florida's employment rate is around 58%, whereas Temple Terrace is an impressive 67%. 1/3 of the community lives in the upper middle class or higher. The most impressive statistic is the education level of the residents in this community. While the state of Florida percentage of people with bachelor's degree or higher is 28%, Temple Terrace is at 44%. Studies have found that individuals with a higher socioeconomic status and whom have completed a higher level of education engage in less risky and unhealthy behavior than their counterparts. Therefore, these statistics indicate the likelihood of a more healthy community overall.
The leading cause of death in Florida and Hillsborough County is heart disease. There could be many reasons why so many people suffer from the condition heart disease, but we as individuals must take accountability for our own bodies by watching what we eat, participating in more physical activity, and knowing our family history. In the city of Temple Terrace, there are a number of health-related services available, such as hospitals, urgent care centers, family clinics, as well as the health department, that is easily accessible for everyone in the community. The hours of operation are typically between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., and the hospital being 24 hours. These resources that are available are adequate for the people in the community to utilize. The cost for these services vary depending on the services rendered.
In the city of Temple Terrace, there are no long-term healthcare centers, rehab, or mental health care services. They are all located in the city of Tampa, about 2 to 3 miles outside of city limits. In the city of Temple Terrace, there is a Life Path Hospice Center, many assisted living facilities, and acute care centers. The cost of living in an acute or long-term center averages between $280 per day. Planned Parenthood is a resource available to help with the high prevalence of STDs in Hillsborough County. The majority of these places accept Medicare, Medicaid, and private health insurance.
There is only one Head Start program listed in Temple Terrace. This is a community need as there is 17.7% poverty rate. That is higher than the national average of 14.7%. That calculates to roughly 4,500 people in the Temple Terrace community. There is an estimated 584 families living in poverty with children under the age of 5. These programs are essential to providing education to those high-risk children living in poverty. In today's society, technology and a fast-paced life are causing our youth to be less physically active and have poor dietary habits. Youth in all communities can benefit from health education so health problems can be lessened in later years.
Increasing the number of community-based organizations in Temple Terrace would benefit the community. During my windshield survey, it was apparent that resources for the homeless population and underserved demographic were difficult to seek out. One would have to utilize the internet to look up the locations of services and assistance programs available within the city, and the population in need may not have the means to access this information online.
The city of Temple Terrace has 2 water treatment plants that supply treated water via 10 wells. Treatment consists of multimedia filtration, aeration, lime softening, fluoridation, chlorination, and corrosion control. There's a 24-hour monitoring done by a state-certified water treatment plant operator. The water supply is adequate and its quality is good. A quality report was done by the City of Temple Terrace Water Division showing that 83% of 3.2 million gallons of drinking water has good quality. Temple Terrace prohibits the use of bonfires or the burning of trash. The City of Temple Terrace provides a variety of residential solid waste services with twice a week curbside service and once a week green bin recycling service. On Wednesdays, there's an excess debris pickup.
The mayor and city council make up the legislative branch of government of the city of Temple Terrace and are responsible for establishing policies. These elected officials govern the city and represent the citizens as they review activities and establish policies for implementation in the best interest of the health, safety, and welfare of the community. The government meetings are held in the Temple Terrace City Hall and are open to the public. The information for the location, dates, and times of the monthly meetings is easily accessible on the city's website. Council meetings are also broadcasted live on both Spectrum and Frontier and are then replayed twice weekly on these networks. The Vision 2020 program establishes a bond between government officials and city residents by allowing mutual involvement and input in decision-making for the future direction of the city of Temple Terrace. The Mayor's Youth Leadership Council is a program that provides high school students in the community the opportunity to develop leadership abilities through community service and civic programs. During my windshield survey, a lack of accessibility to resources for impoverished citizens was noted. This population within the community requires access other than the internet to be able to learn about and utilize available resources. Risk for poverty and homelessness is an issue as well. Property prices are over double the average income level within this community. This requires residents to rely on government assistance and live within the poverty level.
Temple Terrace has a lot of fast food chains in the community, which in return requires a lot of employees to be staffed. With Temple Terrace being a beautiful community, there should be a lot more quality job opportunities to help build the community and its people, which would help with the increase of minimum wage, which would allow for a better economy. Hillsborough County is also at risk for infection due to unprotected sex related to the high prevalence of STDs, with chlamydia leading the way. One thing is for certain, Temple Terrace has an inviting feeling about it. There are a lot of activities to do in the Temple Terrace area that engages both the youth and the adult, and this is what makes Temple Terrace so beautiful.
Driving through Temple Terrace, one can observe an abundance of fast food restaurants. The availability and easy access leads to an increased consumption of these unhealthy foods. Many of these foods contain high amounts of sugar and fat without providing the necessary nutrition to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Many residents in Temple Terrace were observed smoking. While most businesses prohibit smoking within the facilities, this does not deter individuals from smoking outside. More education needs to be delivered to help combat this problem.
Increased poverty and homelessness places the community at risk for higher prevalence of disease, poor quality of life, and mortality. If there is a large portion of impoverished citizens within a community, along with limited access to resources, it leads to the diagnoses that follow, such as increased infection rates, higher smoking prevalence, limited opportunity for quality jobs and careers, and imbalanced nutrition.